And for tonight's invocation, we've got the Pastor Philip Newman of the Grace Baptist Church. Pastor.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for yourself, your love, your grace, your mercy to each one of us. Lord, we do pray for all of those that work for our city. We appreciate all that they do, our policemen, our firemen, all others, for the time and effort that they put forth to make this a safe place to live. We're grateful for that. Watch over, protect each one. We're grateful, of course, for our mayor and our city council, all others, and we trust that you would give wisdom and guidance and direction in this meeting tonight. We do pray for those in our city that are going through difficult times, and we trust that you might be a comfort to them and a help to them. Help us to be sensitive to their needs also, and see what we might be able to do ourselves to be of assistance to them. We do thank you for our girls basketball team and for their accomplishments. Grateful for the talent, the ability that you have given to them. And we thank you again for all that you do for us each day. We ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Sean Bertle.
Here.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Here.
Rod Heberlin.
Here.
Bruce Jones.
Here.
Ray Coons.
Here.
John Lawrence.
Here.
Martin Voda.
Here.
Earl Walters.
Here.
All 8 aldermen present. Okay, first we have a motion to utilize the omnibus vote
Second.
for approval of the minutes in the previous meeting listed on tonight's agenda under the title of omnibus vote designation. We have Alderman Dorchenez, second by Alderman Jones.
Yes, with a comment.
Go ahead with your comment.
I'd like to pull the minutes of the ordinance committee meeting of March 6, 2013 for some amendments when we get to the reading of the ordinance committee.
Okay, so
Thank
we'll
you.
pull the ordinance committee. I've also had a request to pull the minutes of the Lake Airport Committee meeting of held March 14th, 2013. Any other meeting minutes questioned? If not, well, first let's go ahead and take a motion to use the omnibus vote. So roll call on that, please.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rod Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coons.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
That motion passes 8-0. Okay, now the meetings themselves will be approving the minutes of the regular meeting held March 4th, 2013. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held March 6th, 2013. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held March 7th, 2013. Minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held March 7th, 2013. And minutes of the Water Environmental Committee meeting held March 14th, 2013. So we'll be approving those in this next. So I'd entertain a motion to approve those.
Second.
Alderman Bertle, second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Rod Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coons.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, now I would entertain a motion to approve minutes of the Lake Airport Committee meeting held March 14th, 2013, and I'd look to Alderman Heberlin for any amendments we might need to make.
Not necessarily an amendment, Your Honor, but I would like to read the statement under any other matters.
Okay.
Mayor Brotherton provided a copy of a letter he received asking for a letter of support for an affordable housing project. It was recommended that those asking for support schedule a presentation with a question and answer session before a letter of support could be considered. And I would ask the mayor if he would present that before one of the committees on a very timely manner, so that we can hear from this group that asked you for that letter of support, and that was from CEFS.
Right.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to read that letter.
Sure.
This is to Mayor Brotherton. CEFS, Economic Opportunity Corporation, is submitting an application to the Illinois Housing Development Authority for a home buyer assistance program. Because of our partnership in so many areas, including housing, we are asking for a letter of support for this project from you. We are proposing to assist homeowners in the purchase of a home by assisting with down payment, closing costs, and housing rehabilitation assistance. It is our desire to expand home ownership opportunities and the supply of affordable permanent housing in our rural communities. A sample support letter is enclosed and a few other attachments, but this is exactly the kind of project that I think that we need to be seeking. I personally would like to hear more about this kind of project. It helps bring some support into our neighborhoods, perhaps helps to improve our neighborhoods. It is about home ownership, and it's going to help perhaps to build our property tax base, which is all of those ideas that we've been having quite a bit of a communication here in the past several weeks. So I encourage you to seek these people out, see if you can get them in here and appear before a committee in the very near future.
I will
Thank you.
definitely ask him to do that. Again, this is one of those things that's probably been done for the last 20 years on a routine basis annually. And, you know, that's why we probably just need someone. I mean, I think in the past it was always rubber stamped. Like you say, most committees say, why on earth would you not want something like this? But times are changing, and I think we need to take another look at these kind of things.
One of the things that an action like this does, though, it alerts all of the aldermen that something is in the works and gives us all a heads up. We don't have to approve this type of development at that meeting, but at least we will be made aware of it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Lake Airport Committee meeting of March 14th, 2013.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Okay. Alderman Jones?
No.
Alderman
You
Voda?
misspelled the name again.
Okay. V-O-T-A.
Still trying to figure how you're
Second
messing
by
that one up.
Alderman Heberlein. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? That motion passes. Okay, now, as far as your ordinance committee, do you want to go ahead and do that now, or do you want to wait till you?
Yes, we can approve, when we get to the motions, we're going to have two amendments under the motion by Alderman Voda and second by Alderman Lawrence to recommend the city council to direct the city attorney to amend the city code 335 with the additions as follows. We have two amendments to those licenses, and the first one is under Class A1 license, total number of Class A and Class A1 liquor licenses to be issued to establishments. We have 11 down there. I'd like to change that to 12 based upon information from the city clerk's office. And then under Class C1 licenses, it says the number, underneath there's a sentence that says the number of Class C and Class C1 liquor licenses. I'd like to delete that, and that would be the amendment to that under that motion by Alderman Voda.
Okay. So you make that motion? Alderman Walters?
Clarification, what, just exactly, do you want to change them to the C?
So they're not combined?
Yeah, so they're not combined. That allows restaurants to come in, but it still limits the number of restaurants that would be allowed to have video gaming. And that number would stay at 10.
Okay, so I'll look for a motion to approve those, the minutes
Yes,
as amended.
I'll make that.
Alderman Jones, second.
Second.
Alderman Voda. Okay, discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
All right.
Against? The motion passes. Okay, moving on to discussions and or motions to approve, adopt, and or deny, and or table, and or amend, and refer to an appropriate committee in whole and part the following listed motions, ordinances, or resolutions. And before we go any further, I'd like to introduce the girls' Taylorville High School basketball team, the Lady Tornadoes as they're known. If you would, I'll just mention the names, and you guys can stand for the people that don't know you. Coach Mark Hannett. Mark's his first year as head coach. He's actually coached for about 10 years, with the last 7 were under former Coach McVickers for the girls. And thank you. Now, I don't know how many assistants you have with you. Jessica Reber. Steve Keller. Rainey Wright. Is she here? Okay. The girls have had another fantastic year. I mean, their record this year was 20 wins versus 12 losses. They won the Taylorville Holiday Tournament in November, winning all 5 games, 5-0 in that tournament that they played. Then in December, they finished third at the Charleston Holiday Tournament. And again, in January, they finished third at the Lincoln Holiday Tournament. They finished 8-8 in the CS8 conference, finishing in 5th place. And the team won the regional tournament to advance to the sectional tournament. And their roster, I'll just go ahead and introduce them. And again, I'd ask the girls to stand. Sydney Bollinger, Lauren Dust, Christy Weber, and those are seniors. We have our juniors, Alex Norville, Abby Motes, Macy Brown, and Paige Davis. Okay. Sophomores, Olivia Durham, Peyton Bischnauer, Grace Bollinger, Brooke Brandis, and then our freshmen, Michaela Finks and Hope Johnson. And as I stated, that the Lady Tornadoes, they enjoyed a tremendous season that was highlighted by their regional championship win. And on behalf of the city of Taylorville, I'd like to extend sincere congratulations to the team and the coaching staff on the success, and thank them for representing the city of Taylorville with the kind of class they displayed all year long. So we thank you, and we say good luck next season. Thank you. Before they get out of here, when the aldermen like to make any comments, I will say some of the stats were provided by Alderman Dorchenez here, and I thank him for that, working with Coach Hannett.
One comment.
Alderman Walters.
It's a real pleasure to look at some nice looking females out there instead of looking at all those superintendents that we look at all over.
Anything else? Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Next, we got the Plan Commission's recommendation for the Hathaway Homes preliminary plan. And I'd ask Mr. Joe Hauser to please rise and address the council.
Let's see. Unfortunately, I was out of town for the initial meeting, which I believe was held January 22nd, that is of the Planning and Zoning Commission, 2013. And I believe, from what I've read in the paper, that the City Council has approved the site plan of...
No.
I beg your pardon?
That's not, the site plan has not been approved.
Joe, what's the terminology?
It's a location map that's been approved.
I'm sorry, yes. I was reading 3 lines down.
Sketch and location is what it is.
The location map, okay? So the site plan has not been approved.
Yeah.
No, that'll come later. Maybe.
Let's get our terminology straight.
It won't come at all.
Yeah.
No site plan at all. The minutes may say site plan, but it is in air.
Okay.
It's a location and sketch map, just like this says.
Okay. Okay, so the location and sketch maps have been approved.
That is correct.
Okay.
And we're coming to this right here.
Preliminary
That's what
plan.
we're up to right now.
Okay, which is what needs to be presented.
Yes.
All right. After that, the other thing on the agenda, the evening of January 22nd, the Planning and Zoning Commission was consideration for recommendation of the plan with sidewalk and valley gutter along West Elm, the distance of the subdivision, 293.4 feet. The city planning committee, the Taylorville Planning Commission discussed this and voted unanimously to recommend approval to the city council.
Okay. I'd now entertain a motion to accept the Plan Commission's recommendation regarding the preliminary plan for the Hathaway homes.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters,
Second with a comment.
second by Alderman Dorchenez. Go ahead with your comment, Alderman Dorchenez.
Well, all of you know that a lot of us on the council have been struggling with this project. And at a prior city council meeting, some aldermen wanted to get a second opinion from an attorney on the Hathaway Homes project before voting on it. That didn't happen. This past week, an alderman approached a local attorney to get his opinion of the Hathaway Homes project. Based upon what he learned, I'm suggesting that we get a formal second opinion from the same attorney. Therefore, I make a motion to table this project at this time in order to get a second opinion before we should decide to move on.
Second.
Okay, so we just have a motion to table. Is that what we're looking at right now? No discussion.
Correct.
Okay, so the motion by Alderman Dorchenez to table, second by Alderman Bertle. Roll call, please.
Bruce Jones.
No.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
No.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Okay, so 6-2? Okay, so that motion passes 6-2. I guess we'll table this issue. Now, in the minutes, let me ask this question. The attorney that you've chosen, does that need to be in the minutes for the second opinion, since or does that even come into this
I
at
don't
this
know
point?
what dime, may I, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor?
please.
I don't know what dime this mystery attorney is, but I think it needs to be disclosed to everybody at some point in time.
Right.
First of all. Second of all, I think that it's too bad that the motion to table was made for one reason only. And I love this council because you guys actually utilize, parliamentary rules of procedure, and so many municipalities don't. But I think that, well, maybe I'll just wait in my report to share with the council what we learned today from Ansel, Glenk, and Diamond, who are the experts in this area.
Well,
Not
I will
any-
tell you, I did disperse that to all the aldermen, so they
That'll
are
have to
aware of
cover
that.
We'll get through this quickly then.
And then, again, Alderman Dorchenez?
Well, you and I had visited about this earlier, and one of the suggestions I believe that you made or I made, that this would go to the Finance Committee to decide whether they want to spend the money, first of all, to do this, as opposed to just going and doing it. And so that recommendation, my recommendation, it would go to the Finance Committee. They would decide whether they wanted to spend the money to get a second opinion. And if they want to, we'll go forward, and if they don't want to, then we won't.
Sounds like, I'm afraid we're just going over the same material, because at the previous meetings, we actually had this discussion on the second thing, and it was kind of decided that we didn't need that second opinion at that time. In fact, I think Alderman Coontz was the one that actually brought it up, weren't you, about the possibility of getting
Yes,
the
Your
second
Honor.
opinion?
I'd like to make a point of order.
Right.
We are going into discussion and we're not allowed to.
That's right.
That's on that topic, it's already been tabled.
Motion has already
Yeah.
been made.
Yeah.
And roll call.
Taken.
This is
So-
maybe ad-libbing, but it doesn't have anything to do with the
Right.
motion, because motion's already
Right.
been passed,
All right,
without any discussion.
yeah,
Then yes, I'll go ahead and speak on that if I may.
well, please do.
As you were aware, I've, contacted some other lawyers from up north and got some pricing and that kind of thing, if it does go to that situation where we
Yeah.
hire somebody, and some say yes, some say no, but that's,
Well-
they're gonna have to sit down and look at what we have to give an honest opinion. I still agree that we do need a second opinion on this from an independent source that has no connection to either side, for or against. And that's just my personal opinion, and that's what I'm gonna base my final decision upon.
Sure,
And Mr. Mayor, I concur. I agree 110%.
right,
I never advise my client, if they have a problem with my advice, you're not gonna insult me one bit, okay? I do think, though, that if you're going to go as far north as you want to go. If you want to go north of I-80, you contact Stuart Diamond, you contact Dirk Price, who we talked about today. Talk to the gentlemen that are truly experts, not on a local basis like Taylorville, Illinois, but on places like, the big cities around Chicago. And I spoke with Dirk Price today about a very, very similar situation that occurred in Elgin. And I thought it was certainly enlightening to hear. And again, he is totally 110% behind the position that the city of Taylorville has taken to date. But that doesn't mean you can't find somebody who would have a different opinion.
Well, and I think that'll be the very difficult thing if we try and do that at the Finance Committee. I mean, how many names are we coming forward with? How are we going to know how much they're going to charge? Are we going to have a different meeting? In other words, I could see us stretching this out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that is definitely something we do not want to do. We need to come to a decision. Alderman Lawrence.
Only in reference to it going to the Finance Committee. Our next meeting is the third week in April, and we are working on a postponement to 1 week later on a Wednesday night. So in the interest of expediting this matter, I think it ought to go to the council as a whole.
Okay. Well, I mean, we could definitely do that, but again, we have to know who we're going to invite and all those kind of questions. Again, the sheet I handed out, to me, I don't know why that would not qualify as basically a second opinion. I mean, if you want more information from them and more precise things, we can arrange that. This is the same firm, again, that we've utilized in the past for the annexation issues, for example. Some of the, in fact, I talked to one of the former city attorneys today, and he recommended this same firm. And he said, basically he told me, he said, if what they're telling you is what I would probably stand behind. Now, he did put the caveat, I have not researched this, so I will not put forward any ideas at this point until I've had a chance to research it and everything else. But if you talk to people from that firm, he says, I hold them in very high regard and would respect what they're telling you. So again, I don't know how long we're going to play this, play these games and keep dragging this thing out. I would like to get it taken care of.
My recommendation would be for each alderman to basically do their own homework and come up with one name they feel comfortable with and bring it to whatever meeting we decided to talk about, and then just pick one.
Okay. So
everyone's... That would be the fastest way as far as I can see.
Everyone's going to bring a name and a quote on expenses, so we can decide that night, and we'll say we're going to pick that one, and make sure they don't have any ties to anyone. Again, I think what you're asking for is very cumbersome and probably inefficient. The answers we need are already out there, and I think the answers have been presented to us. They may not be the answers all of us want to hear, but I think they're going to be the answers you're going to get from anyone, again, that's non-biased, but biased to the point that, they're in there for more than just the money and watching the entertainment of the municipality going to court. And I think that's the biggest downside I see in this whole thing. That's just what concerns me. I think we all share concerns over this project and even the need for this project here in the city. And but the thing is, we've been getting our direction from at least 3 sources that I've talked to right now, 2 that you're made aware of, our own city attorney, plus the note from the firm I've given you tonight. And I, in another place, I can share a third. Well, we've got a third person, Mr. Cravens. We talked to him, and the answers keep coming back the same on all of them. So I don't know how many we will eventually go through to get an answer we can work off of. Alderman Dorchin.
I'd recommend because we got a difference of opinion from this attorney. And why don't we invite that attorney here and listen to his opinion and go from there?
Well, again, not knowing exactly who that attorney is, if it's the same one that I talked to that's in Florida today, he gave me his opinion.
Well, I don't know, I didn't hear from, I didn't get it from
Any-
the horse's mouth. I'm getting
and-
this secondhand from another alderman.
Sure, well,
And
and,
that's just what I'm going by.
right.
And I respect the attorney very much.
Right.
His opinion means a lot.
Well, he's the one that told me about, how strongly he recommended the firm that I presented tonight, Ansel Glick. And, that was his recommendation. Barring when he would do his own, but, again, he said if I went through all the information and had a chance to research it myself, he said I would probably find the same route they're finding.
Your Honor.
Alderman Voda.
Maybe to save a little bit of chatter this evening, Mr. Dorchenez did make a motion, it got approved, okay?
Mhm.
Motion to basically delay this decision until he has the opportunity to maybe present some response from a third-party independent lawyer. Unless he has an option that I'm not aware of, I would recommend that Mr. Dorchenez get the information, bring it back to the city council, and we vote based on his information.
Well,
To be able to, for all of us to come back with a different lawyer, that's, to me, is unacceptable, and we can't do that. But Mr. Dorchenez seems to have a handle on this pretty well from his side, and I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Mr. Dorchenez, but if that's what we need to do, and we get a third-party independent, let's do it, get it back. We'll find out where we're going. Mr. Copley's waiting, Mr. Seegers is waiting, we're all waiting to get this thing one way or the other, and make a decision on which way to move, rather than sit here and beat this up verbally for another month or so. Let's get it taken care of one way or the other.
Alderman, are you done?
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm not real happy with the way this went out tonight. I'm not real happy that we've been told that we'll have impending litigation against us if we make a negative decision. I believe that you did your due diligence and you've spoken with the proper amount of attorneys, whatever that number may be, and you've gotten the same response from everyone that you've talked to. I think going to the Finance Committee is not the right thing to do. I think that you should call a special city council meeting for next Monday night, which would be the 25th. That way you'll have all 8 aldermen there, not 4, and you will get a motion coming out of that committee and get it done and get it done quick. I'm not in favor of spending any more money on this. I've already stated that. I'm not happy about it, but I don't want to spend any more money on it.
So, Dave, help me with this. The logistics of this thing, if we accepted that proposal, had a meeting on the 25th, we would then, at the city council meeting on April 1st, we would, have another motion to renew from the plan commission to get us back to this preliminary thing?
Well, if it's,
I mean,
if it's with a special meeting, you
We could do
can
it.
place on the agenda anything you want.
okay.
Mr. Mayor.
So
I mean,
do it that night after we're here?
Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
The clerk would give proper notice pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, and it would just be, special meeting. So you could put whatever action items you want on that.
okay.
I mean, if we have to have a special meeting, closed session, finish the meeting with any motions,
You
That-
could do anything you want. You could have a closed session if you so
Mhm.
chose. I mean, we'd have to make sure that there was an exemption to the Open Meetings Act,
exactly.
which, at this point in time, I don't know whether there is or not, but, from what I've heard, but in any
Well-
event, yeah, special meeting.
Well, that's for you to discuss and for us to pay more
Sure.
money.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm not happy about it.
yeah.
Well, Alderman Bertle.
What I don't understand here, it appears that the majority of the council has made a decision, and the minority here is trying to dictate how we handle it. The majority wants to get a second opinion from another attorney. And I know, and I appreciate Alderman Jones's opinion, that whether he likes to spend the money on it or not, the majority here tonight said that they want to spend the money on getting a second opinion.
Okay.
So if Mr. Dorchenez
From who?
has an attorney in mind, and everybody's comfortable with that, whether he wants to say it tonight or at the Finance Committee, that's what has taken place here tonight. I'm not sure why we're still talking about it.
Well, I think the big problem is we're talking about the same attorney that I spoke to today. And so now we're going to call a meeting based on an opinion that Mr. Dorchenez himself has not talked to the attorney. And so now we go ahead and do this, and Mr. Dorchenez talks to the attorney and says, well, the mayor's right. You know, he echoes exactly what the mayor said, and so we're gonna, you know, have a special meeting to say, yeah, the mayor's right, and we're back to where we are tonight. I mean, that's the frustrating thing
And I don't
about
want to
this.
speak for the rest of the aldermen, but maybe they'd be more comfortable hearing it from that attorney.
Okay, so.
And you're on one side of the argument, and the majority's on another
I
side.
understand, but, so we're gonna pay him for the research, we have to understand it, because he's not gonna make a decision, and shouldn't be asked to make a decision like this without doing the research necessary. Okay. So regardless of, I mean, is there, you know, again, we're not gonna make motions tonight, I guess, on the
No.
limit of how much we're gonna pay for him to get to that point.
And I don't know what attorney you're talking about, and it is making a difference, but, you know, timing is the whole key here, folks. You're asking, if it's the attorney who I think, which I don't know, but, this attorney's not going to, I don't even know whether that particular attorney could have, his due diligence and research done by next Monday night. I mean,
I don't know, when he
you
gets
know,
back
I
from
mean,
vacation.
if it's the attorney that I think it is, he'll spend plenty of time on it, which he should.
And the other thing,
Alderman Walters.
I've been sitting here listening to this. Also, I thought that Alderman Darcy had said he was making some of his comments this evening based on secondhand information from another alderman. So someone else has been doing something with this particular attorney. And I'm not comfortable also getting on the phone and calling various attorneys all over God's creation and saying what limited information I have on the legality of it as to, will you come and talk to us and give us an opinion, and how much will you charge?
Right.
And as our secretary said, whoever this attorney is, he's going to have to wade through all the stuff that I have here, and that's not going to happen by next Monday.
Okay.
And I don't want to spend any more money on it either.
Alderman Kuntz, and then we'll move on.
Versus whatever attorney we get, or the one that you spoke to today, the ones I told you that I spoke to, and the one that we discussed on, bottom line, they all have basically said they would have to sit down and look at the information before they can give you a hardcore yes or no decision, or, you know, on what's gonna go on. They can't just do it over the phone. They can't just, you know, they can give you a rough idea, but without them sitting down and looking at that information, nobody's gonna give you a bottom line yes or no over the phone.
Well, and again, I don't think any attorney is going to give you a yes or no. They may, if we push them, as I pushed the city attorney at the last meeting, may give you a ballpark percentage on their best guess of what may happen. But I think tonight we need to move on. So let's go on down the agenda and move forward, and we will try and set up that situation. Again, if it's the same attorney that I believe we're talking about, he is not available. He's in Florida on vacation. So that may affect the timeline, but we'll get a meeting set up and move forward. Okay, next we have a resolution of council support for the CDAP grant. So I'd entertain a motion to approve that resolution. Alderman Walters, second. Second by somebody.
Second.
Alderman Heberling. Discussion or comments?
Oh, I'll be voting against this mainly because of the concerns I had earlier this evening when we discussed it at the public hearing regarding that if we do get this grant, Your Honor, we don't have the money to pursue this project, and I have no idea where the money's coming from. We have several big dollar items that are sitting on the horizon we are going to have to address.
Okay. Any other comments? Alderman Kuntz.
I'd like to echo his Alderman Voda's comments. The project itself, I have no problem with. I think it's a good idea. But concerning the financing and like he said, the priority of the project compared to what we have coming up, I will be voting no on this. But I do not discount the project itself. I discount the funding and the priority that we're putting on it.
I think those are very important points. But you also have to remember that we never know when these grants are going to be available or if they'll be available again. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind as well. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Roy Coontz.
No.
John Lawrence.
No.
Martin Voda.
No.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heberling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-3. Next, we have a resolution regarding the antenna site lease agreement with Essex Telecom Incorporated, doing business as T6 Broadband. Entertain a motion to approve that.
Make that motion, Your Honor.
Alderman Voda. Second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comments? I would like to thank Superintendent Dave Spiegel for helping get that thing drawn up. I do appreciate his help with that. Okay, roll call, please.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Next, we have an ordinance annexing certain territory surrounded or nearly surrounded by property which is incorporated within the city pursuant to 65 ILCS 5/7-1-13.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Alderman Dorchenez, can you get a second?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters, discussion or comments?
Comment, Your Honor.
Alderman Voda.
I'll be voting on this also. I think we have to be very cautious, especially when we're looking at $22 million potentially for a new water treatment facility. This continued annexation of properties outside the city, that cuts our income to 50% into the water fund from those properties. And I think at this time, we might be prudent to go ahead and let that fund accrue some money prior to future annexations, till we know where we're going with this water treatment facility. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Martin Voda.
No.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-1. Next, we have an ordinance adding section 4-5-3-1E to the city code, allowing certain gambling as allowed by state law.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay.
But we had motions come out of the ordinance committee that would lead to these ordinances.
Okay.
And so we need to put the cart before the horse. So if you could hold the next 5
Okay.
ordinances until after.
Until you start reading those? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that brings us back to, we have a motion to approve the repair of the cemetery backhoe in the amount of $5,750. Alderman Bertle, can I get a second?
Second.
Alderman Walters, discussion or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Brings us to city attorney updates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a whole lot, maybe some things that we don't want to address, but the bottom line is the Winslow indemnification hold harmless contract. Hopefully Superintendent Jackson will get that to us for your consideration here in the near future. And we also have H2O water annexation, annexation plats being ordered and for our next round of those annexations. I think those are with Green and Bradford and/or with the title companies. So we'll march ahead pursuant to the instructions of this council. Other than that, I had a lot more to talk about, but we don't need to now.
Okay. Any questions or comments for the city attorney? Okay, moving on to mayor updates. And I've just got a couple quick things. I'm sure everyone's aware the new CVS store is now open for business, so we congratulate them and obviously wish them the best. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention, in Effingham, there's a former Taylorville resident, Mr. Craig Linvall, and he's developed and has been teaching a high school course on entrepreneurism, probably for at least 5 or 6 years now down there. What he's accomplished in Effingham County is actually amazing. At least 20 new businesses have been started as a direct result of his course. I'm going to be attending a presentation that will not only explain the course, but give information on other similar programs found throughout the country. And I'm just basically going to ask representatives of the local school system, the Chamber of Commerce, and local business leaders to attend. And I'm going to extend that invitation to as many of the aldermen that can attend that as possible. I think it's something excellent. You light a fire under your young people. Hopefully they'll start businesses here and stay around, and that's what we're all after. We want to keep our youth here, want to keep the city growing. So I think it's a fantastic plan he's got down there and something we can learn from and maybe recreate here. And I think that's all I've got, unless you guys have questions or comments. Hearing none, let's move on to committee reports. Discussions and or motions to approve, adopt, and or deny, and or table, and or amend, and or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. And we'll start off with the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. Our first motion and only motion coming out of the Finance Committee is a motion to the City Council to retain current insurance company KMRM as we know it, a division of Diamond Brothers Insurance Agency for the general liability, property, equipment, auto, and pollution coverage, and dispense with the request to seek any bids.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second by Alderman Voda. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Next, we'll move to the Ordinance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a motion to direct the city attorney to amend section 3-3-5 of the city code regarding liquor classifications and to direct the city attorney to amend section 3315 of the city code relating to the annexation of establishments selling alcoholic liquor. I'd like to make the motion.
Okay, for the motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Voda. Discussion or comments?
Comment.
Let me go Alderman Dorchenez. Okay, Alderman Bertle.
Yeah, the night this meeting was held, I had some concerns over numerous things. We had some individuals here that had, that business owners, local business owners. There was talk of increasing the value of their business by limiting the number of liquor licenses. There was talk of raising the liquor license fee. There was talk of limiting the number of liquor licenses that we were going to issue. The night of the meeting, I supported it. I've changed my mind. I made a mistake. I don't support limiting the number of liquor licenses at all. I think that even though some of the members on the council, and for good reason, have reasons to think that there's enough establishment to get liquor, I'm not disagreeing with them necessarily, but I'm not agreeing with them either. If anybody has been in the new CVS, the mayor just brought that up. If you were in the old store, they had a very limited liquor section, very limited. This new section, there's a huge aisle of liquor now. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I'm saying obviously they think there's a market for liquor. So whether I agree with liquor or not, I think the public, you know, in the whole, other than the people that are non-drinkers, tend to agree that they want liquor in the establishment not only for consumption but to purchase. So I understand that we have to have a city code that allows video gaming, so I'll be supporting that motion together with that will not be.
Okay. Alderman Dorchenez.
Well, I echo the same thing, and I told you, Mayor, that we've had discussions about this, that I don't know why we would let, when you put the limitation on the number that you're gonna have, then what those people have is a monopoly, and if anybody else wants to jump into the video gaming, and you're not gonna let them in, simply because you've got a limit on it, well then, just like you said, the value of that gaming license is worth more than it should be, simply because of the fact that nobody else can get one. So if somebody wants one bad enough, they're going to have to pay through the nose to get it, to buy somebody else out. So I'll vote no on this.
Okay. Alderman Walters.
I was at that meeting that evening, and I think, well, I know the chairman of that committee made the statement that he thought that there was enough liquor establishments in town, and I support him totally on that. The only reason I have mixed feelings on this, the only reason that you're getting my vote to okay these is because of the fact that you put a limit on it, as I stated that evening. I think we have enough establishments in this city of Taylorville, and we don't need any more for selling liquor. And if we're going to take that out of there, I cannot support any of these ordinances that follow. So I want that to remain in there, that there's going to be a limit on the liquor licenses in town and strict compliance with the laws. And the gambling I'm also not happy with, but I appreciate the fact that my mayor and my fellow aldermen have done a lot of work on this. And based on that, I will go along with them, even though I do have mixed feelings about the gambling in the city of Taylorville.
Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
No.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz,
Yes.
John Lawrence,
Yes.
Martin Voda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
You'll have to refresh my memory as to the yes or no on what we're voting on.
Yes is to approve the ordinance itself as directed, and it does have the limits you talked about.
All right, yes.
Sean Bertle.
No.
Okay, motion passes 6-2.
Okay. Next motion we have is a motion to direct the city attorney to create a new chapter 15 in Title III of the city code pertaining to video gaming terminals relating to the Video Gaming Act. I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Alderman Voda. Discussion or comment on this? Go ahead, Alderman Koontz.
I'll be voting yes on this. I'm not in support of video gaming as far as anywhere and everywhere, like some of the aldermen have stated. My main support for this is for the fraternal organizations that depend upon that revenue stream to keep open, because they do provide a lot of benefit to the community, and that's why I'll be voting yes, and that's the only reason.
Okay. Any other comments? Alderman Dorchenez.
Which one is this one?
Yeah, see, we've got these out of order. Your Honor.
Yeah.
Well, all these are the motions from the committee, and then we'll go back and we'll approve the ordinances. This is just the motion to have the city attorney to create these ordinances.
Title III, Chapter 15, adding that. That would be.
This is just for the video gaming
Right.
itself. No limits, no, just
Oh,
like
okay.
we're allowing
Right.
it.
Up to that.
Okay.
If I may.
Alderman Voda.
Outside, out and about, talking with people, I've been confronted and asked, what my thoughts were on this, and I guess there's been mixed thoughts in the public, and basically what I stated was, we might as well approve it as a city council, because if we don't, it's gonna be going on anyway, we know it goes on, it's hard to catch. So, if you approve it, make it legal, then we monitor that, the city also gets some revenue out of this, and you get the best of both worlds. So I think it's the prudent thing to do right now.
Alderman Walters.
Comment along with that. I know it's the thing in Illinois right now, but I think it's a crying shame that the city of Taylorville has to rely on gambling to get additional revenue from the city coffers to do projects. It's just a crying shame, that's my own opinion.
I agree with you, but it's the state of Illinois, the state of California, probably another 50 states before in the next couple of years, I'm afraid.
That we just voted on?
Any other thing before we vote?
That one?
Roll call, please.
Rob Heatherly,
Yes.
Bruce Jones,
Yes.
Ray Coontz,
Yes.
John Lawrence,
Yes.
Martin Voda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Sean Bertle,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, the next motion we had was to approve the ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 9, Section 2A, 2B of the Taylorville City Code regarding the residency requirements.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Heberlin, discussion or comment on that? Hearing none, roll call.
Bruce Jones,
Yes?
Ray Coontz,
Yes.
John Lawrence,
Yes.
Martin Voda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Sean Bertle,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez,
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, now going back to the ordinances that we withheld, ordinance number 1 would be adding the section 5-4-3-1 subsection E to the city code, allowing certain gambling as allowed by state law. And I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second by Alderman Voda, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Ray Coontz,
Yes.
John Lawrence,
Yes.
Martin Voda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Sean Bertle,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly,
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Ordinance number 2 would be repealing Title III, Chapter 3, Section 335, providing for classification of liquor licenses and fees in the Taylorville, in the city of Taylorville Code.
Okay, Alderman Jones, can I get a second?
Second.
Alderman Voda, discussion or comment?
Yes, one.
Alderman Walters.
Chairman Jones, that this does have the correct numbers in it.
This, yes, these have already been correctly identified.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
John Lawrence,
Yes.
Martin Voda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Sean Bertle,
No.
Ernie Dorchenez.
No.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones,
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-2.
Ordinance number 3 would be adding Title III, Chapter 15 to the city code addressing video gaming terminals. I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, get a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Voda, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Martin Voda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Ordinance number 4 would be amending section 3-3-15 of the city code addressing annexation of establishments selling liquor. I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, get a second.
Sir.
Alderman Lawrence. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
And ordinance number 5 would be amending Title 1, Chapter 9, Section 2A, 2B of the city code addressing residency requirements. I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters.
So that the public knows this is pertaining to police sergeants and police investigators.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
And one comment, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
With a lot of these things needed to be done in a timely manner so that we could deal with licensing these video games, licensing the establishments, and being able to collect the fees that we're allowed to collect, and especially at this time since they're all coming due at the end of this month. I appreciate the city clerk and all the work she put into this. David Fines, you turn these things around in a very significant way. I appreciate all the hard work you and your staff did as well.
Thank you. All right, I think we go to Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From our March 7th meeting, we had a motion that upon receipt of the official notice of the retirement of a current police officer to, 1, direct the mayor to send a letter to the Police and Fire Commission to begin the process of hiring a new police officer, and 2, allow Police Chief Herbstreit to reserve a place in the police academy for the June session. Offer that as a motion.
Second.
Okay, second by Alderman Bertle. Discussion or comments?
Comments, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters.
Do we have that resignation on our desk effective Monday, March the 11th? Because this motion was based upon that, following that.
Right. Yeah, we do not have that. The officer that is planning on retiring in September spoke to his attorney and says you're really painting yourself in the corner if you go ahead and put that in writing. We know that's your intent, but if something should happen, you're left out there unprotected. So based upon his attorney's recommendation, he did not sign the letter. So I guess we have to decide what that's going to do. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Alderman Hamlin, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say that here my concern is if we do not go ahead with this, that puts us in a situation where we're going to be short an officer for a period ranging from 9 months to a year. It pushes all the schedule back, depending on when and if these classes are offered in the future, of trying to get them in there, and it just sets us that far behind. I think the general feeling is this officer will go ahead and retire at that time. I would recommend that we go ahead and approve this with the understanding that if that does not happen, unfortunately, and I think we need to let the new guy know this, that this council may come together and say we may have to lay that person off if that's the situation.
If I might, the purpose for this motion was to enable you and the chief to put into motion certain actions so that we could take advantage of some timing issues.
Right.
But this motion was not put in play so that we could go ahead and start these things before he maybe will retire in September.
Right.
I would, if you're wanting us now to go ahead and do this pending his retirement in September, I will not support this motion.
Okay. Well, again, I'm just pointing out the concerns. I've talked with the chief, and I believe he will be putting something in writing. He is extremely concerned about the short staffing he has down there right now. We're at a dangerous level. If one of the officers that's currently working would happen to be hurt, we don't have the coverage. We're already at a point where There's certain areas in town, the lake area, for example. I mean, if they have problems this summer, we probably don't have the manpower to adequately get everyone out there in time. And that shortness does affect that and results of that. If we do not go ahead with this and do not have a guy ready, that prolongs that kind of thing even longer.
It was this officer that said he was going to retire that precipitated all of this action.
True.
It could be this officer that puts us into a bad situation.
It is, but that doesn't change the fact that we are in that. And again, that doesn't help the person out there that needs the help during that time. Alderman Walters.
Your Honor, in reference to the lake area, and no disrespect to our lake superintendent and our police department, but all the years I lived out there on the lake, it's always been the last thought. And putting it nicely, if there's something else going on, they're going to take care of it in the city, even though that saying started with one of our previous mayors, as if the lake isn't in the city. Well, send them out to the lake because it's, they'll do what they want out there. So I don't have any high expectations for having a lot of officers to be able to come out to the lake there. Never have. And also, are we going to have enough intestinal fortitude if we put this new officer on? Are we going to stick by our guns and say, I'm sorry, but you have to go? Are we going to wallow on that and say, well, okay, we'll go ahead and this officer didn't retire, so we'll go ahead and leave that officer on? I have mixed feelings about this also because the thoughts were based upon what and no disrespect to the chief, but what the chief presented to the committee. So I don't know who let him down or what happened, but that's what this motion was based on.
Your Honor.
Alderman Voda.
Reading through the minutes, it says, he will submit his official letter of resignation on Monday, March 11th. Somewhere there was a date given that this will be turned in. Now, if we knew there was a hard date, and again, going back to the chief, I'm not trying to come down on you for any reason at all, believe me. I think you've got your hands full with what's going on in this community as it is. But somewhere that date came to be, and that date has come and gone, and we don't have that letter. And this city council is trying to decide, do we want to proceed with this with the potential that we may be adding another employee, as bad as you want one, in your force, that we may not be able to afford to keep on. And with the date, I'd like to know why the date was not met, that it is stated as a hard date in this. And then if you go back to the motion itself, we would have to amend the motion if we were to accept this anyway, because it states, send a letter to the Police and Fire Commission to begin the process of hiring. It's in the motion that he's going to. I'm sorry?
There's no date
There's
in the
no
motion.
date, but we can't, upon receipt of the official notice of the retirement. We haven't received that, and that's in the motion.
Right, and again, that's what the chief's explained. He did not know that. Again, it's one of those things based on what the previous conversation with the officer then spoke with his attorney, who then recommended not doing it. So this information came after the fact as far as the chief, so you can't hold him responsible.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not holding the chief responsible. I'd like to know where the March 11th date came from, though. Somebody had a hard date for some reason, and it came from somewhere.
Well, I believe, Dave, I'll let you speak for yourself, but I believe the officer told him that originally.
The original discussion I had with that officer was prior to the personnel committee meeting on the 7th. He told me that he'd think about it, he would have that letter to me on Monday because he felt confident in doing so at that time. Something happened between my discussion with him and that Monday date that you're talking about, and he contacted his attorney and then didn't feel comfortable submitting that letter. So it wasn't because of I didn't know about it or anything like that. What happened was, we had a discussion, the officer and I, about his retirement. He said he was going to retire, and I still feel confidently that he's going to. But something changed in there before that Monday date when the letter was supposed to be tendered, that he talked to his attorney and said he doesn't really want to pin himself back in that corner until he gets closer to his actual retirement date. And that's his anniversary date in September, why that date is.
Your Honor. All right, are you done with the floor?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let me do Alderman Dorchenez and then Alderman Walters.
Terry, we've all gotten reports on how much the video gaming revenue the city's been getting. Can you refresh my memory what that is about a month?
It's running 3,000 to 4,000. We just got to check in today.
3,000 to 4,000. And that money, I'm assuming, just going into the general fund.
Correct.
since we didn't have that money before, and I know I know the city's finances, but I was wondering if this council might be interested in setting aside that money and putting it towards that officer's salary in the unlikely event that that person wouldn't retire. That person's probably going to retire. So if we set that aside, if Terry set that aside till such time that we hire somebody, and then use that to pay, what would be the salary? Is that close?
That's close for, well, it'd be a little higher than that for starting, plus
So it's going to be pretty
benefits.
close. I mean, it's going to be nickel, right? I mean, it's not going to be that.
And that would only be if he was here for, you know.
So if we put that money, if we set that aside, put it in a separate fund, you could tolerate that, Terry? I mean, we've been running without it anyway and been doing well. I mean, we've been keeping in the black. I mean, we haven't been flushed. I understand that. So if we set aside that money, put it in a separate fund, and pay that officer, we wouldn't have to put much money with it. And I'm like the chief. I'm pretty sure that person's going to retire. That person told me that a year ago he's going to retire. Now he's going to be hanging around.
Alderman Walters and then Becky.
My thought in my discussion with the chief, and I support him trying to get another officer because you and I talked about some grants, to looking for some types of grants and stuff. My question that I want to ask, and I'd like to get an answer to it, if not, that's fine, but if we hire a new officer and this officer doesn't retire, who has the responsibility to terminate the new officer? Would that be you, Mr. Mayor, or would that be the police chief?
No, the whole council would have to make that determination.
The whole council would have to terminate
Yeah,
that?
well, I mean, or the majority of it would. We'd have to make that decision that that's what we're going to do. And again, the bottom line is, at least I look at it, we're already short. He's been running short for a long period of time right now. And he's already cut out a lot of the activities, just like the rest of the city has on certain things that we used to do. And he shared with me today, and it's a very legitimate concern. We're in a situation where now if another officer gets hurt, the overtime costs are going to be huge. And that just snowballs upon itself. When these guys are forced to come in there, then they have to go to court and everything else. Before you know it, then you got an officer sick, and it just snowballs. So we definitely don't want to put ourselves in a situation like that if we can be avoided. I hear you that we have to be prudent, and I agree we have to be very prudent with it. But again, the fear is if we miss this opportunity here, that boat may not come back around for a while, and we may have a prolonged period of time where we're paying the overtime expenses, which will probably surpass and exceed the amount the new officer would cost.
And to tie in with that, Your Honor, then I'll see what the fellow alderman want to do. You and I discussed this just briefly, and I'd like to know if when this new officer is hired, he will be told up front on day one that there's a possibility that he will not have a job.
Condition of
Someone
employment.
doesn't retire.
Right.
That's very simple.
Right. Okay, let me go to Alderman Bertle and then back to Alderman Haverly.
The first question I have, is there a reason why the motion from the meeting doesn't match the motion that's on the agenda for tonight?
I thought that they did.
It does.
No, it does not.
In what way do they differ?
Well, in the motion, at the meeting of the personnel committee, it says motion by Alderman Coon, second by Alderman Bertle to recommend to the city council that upon receipt of the official notice of retirement, the police officer direct the mayor to send a letter and all that, but it doesn't reflect that in the motion
Okay.
tonight.
Sure it does. If I might?
Please.
The motion tonight is motion that upon the receipt of the official notice of the retirement of a current police officer
No, but you're right. I
to
stand corrected.
direct the mayor
I missed
to
it.
send.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Can I have the next sentence?
Alderman Voda, go ahead.
Just, and I appreciate the recognition. The question I have is for Treasurer France. Building on Mr. Dorchenez's comments, I don't have a problem with that if the funds are there to subsidize the salary for the short term. My question is, what are we looking at in the way of dollars and cents on top of that for the benefits package that we have to present to this individual? And how is that going to affect the city's finances?
Of course, if you look at the percentage that equates to the benefit package, it runs upwards to 60%.
So 60% of the
Yeah.
salary.
Yeah.
So that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a substantial amount more than just the base salary, from what I'm understanding. Okay. So, in rebuttal to your comments, I see where you're coming from, but I think there's some hidden costs that we have to take into consideration also that may bite us, should this not fall through in the direction we hope it does.
Can I respond?
Alderman Dorchenez.
All I'm saying is that, you know, in the unlikely event that that person does not retire, this amount of money would cover a substantial amount of it. The person's gonna retire, okay? We can't bank on it, but we're pretty sure it's gonna happen. In the unlikely event that he doesn't, we'd have this money to go towards that, and I think we can handle that. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna have to use this money. All I'm saying is that we've got a little hedge here to go against that expense, is all I'm saying.
Okay, and just quick rebuttal, and then I'll relinquish the floor. I guess the question, I go back to Mr. Walters' comments. If we support this, that's presented, are we willing to say, should we not lose this police officer, he retains his employment, are we as a city council willing to say, we're sorry, but we're gonna have to let you go? And that's the bottom line. Are we able to be that type of a council that has to do the dirty work as well as the good work?
One more question.
Alderman Bertle.
Now that I've been corrected by Alderman Heffernan, and I appreciate it. It's still, the motion states that we have to have official notice to go forward with this motion, and if we don't have that, then it sounds like we amended the motion to go ahead and hire the officer regardless of the letter of intent or not. I mean, this motion here says that we need the letter before this can even happen. But it sounds like the conversation we're having is that we're going to forego that letter. And go
Mr.
ahead
Mayor,
and-
may I just make a real?
Yes, please.
Try to expedite things here a little bit. I think, Alderman Heffernan, you made the motion, and that was seconded by somebody. Okay?
Alderman Bertle.
Then it was brought to somebody's attention that this March 11th resignation had not been received. You made the comment then that you cannot support that motion. So from a procedural standpoint, in order to move on, we either take a vote on it, or if Alderman Hemmerling wants to move to rescind his motion, and if there's a rescission on the part of, a second by Alderman Bertle, then at least that clears the air, and then somebody can make a different motion if they want to. Such as Alderman Dorchenez, you making a motion to, rely on a subsidy from the video gaming. But right now, we're stuck on the motion, Alderman Hemmerling, that you yourself say you're not gonna support.
Well, I wouldn't support it if it's amended to where we go ahead and hire regardless if we have.
You can make that amendment also.
But that's the amendment that I would not support.
Okay,
Well,
wouldn't it be faster just to take the vote, and if they vote it down, then where you're talking anyway?
That would be fine too.
Alderman Dorchenez.
Well, first of all, I don't think we want to hire somebody and get to the position that you say you're going to fire them because the other person didn't retire, when all you're going to do is it's just costing you money. You're going to be sending that person, you're going to train them, send them to the police academy, and then you're going to let them go on the road. Man, that'd be great for some other city to grab that person. They've been through all the training and they will pay for it. Well, that'd be great.
Your Honor, that's the aha moment that I thought that I would raise in the Alderman's minds when I versed my comments. Aha, are we gonna do that or not?
Yeah.
And we won't do it.
They do sign an agreement to repay those training costs over a fixed period of time, I believe it's 18 months or so. They have to reimburse the city should they leave for any reason prior to that.
Even if the city tells them to go?
Well, that's a good question, but
I'm not giving you your money back.
probably wouldn't
Sorry.
hold up for that, but, again,
Pay for my own training?
Can I make one quick comment?
Alderman Bertle.
I mean, the way the motion's read, if Alderman Heffernan doesn't amend it, the only thing that would change here, Chief, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's a June session, but if we don't get this letter of intent to retire, say until it doesn't come until September, the only thing it does is push that June session to a different session. Is that not right?
And as well as all the training and background and FTO program and everything. If we wait until the late fall session of the academy, we're looking at basically 9 months to a year after September before the person that retired in September is replaced in manpower.
But my thought would be that, although that's not ideal by a long shot, I mean, the way we had it set up here was really gonna work out the best for the police department. But if we get them later in life, it's better than not getting them at all.
Sure, sure. I think the only other factor is, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but these classes are not guaranteed themselves. If the state doesn't fund these classes, there will not be any additional classes to send your officers to.
Correct,
And-
I'm not even guaranteed a late
Right,
fall
right.
academy class. I am guaranteed a June academy class, they've already announced it. I guess realistically, if they don't do the late fall one, the earliest one would be spring of 2014. So then you're looking 9 months to a year past spring of 2014 before I have somebody to replace the retirement that happened in September of 2013.
So, I'd respectfully request that you amend your motion to allow the chief to head on with this particular motion in hopes, and I kind of agree with Alderman Dorchenez and Chief Herbstreit that this individual is going to retire. It's a matter of timing.
Just one question. When did we find out that this officer did not turn in his official resignation papers on March the 11th?
I've had discussions with him all week. Monday was the first time I discussed it with him on the phone. He was gone on vacation. And then, I believe that Wednesday of that same week, I discussed it with him. Don't hold me to the Wednesday, I can't remember. Sure, I guess Thursday, Friday.
Well, Your Honor, I found out about it today because I asked you.
Right.
So that's the first I knew it, as today's date, which is March the 18th. I just simply asked.
Given all the information, I think it'd be irresponsible for me not to amend my motion. And I would like to do that, to amend my motion to state that we'll withdraw the first part of that sentence and to direct the mayor to send a letter to the Police and Fire Commission to begin the process of hiring a new police officer and to allow Police Chief Herbstreit to reserve a place for the police academy in the June session.
Okay. Will you amend your second? Okay. Any other discussion before we vote?
What's the
Procedural
motion?
matter, Your Honor.
The motion will be, motion to direct the mayor to send a letter to the Police and Fire Commission to begin the process of hiring a new police officer and to allow Police Chief Herbstreit to reserve a place in the academy for the June session.
With the comment.
Procedure matter, I think our city attorney said the first part of that, and I'll go with you on this, and we need to rescind his motion.
No, I said amend.
I thought you said rescind.
No, I said amend,
Sorry.
Alderman
Yeah.
Walters, and that's like the mayor, and the mayor's right, you could could have taken a vote on it, and we
And my comment would be based upon the information I feel bad for our police chief that he's been put in this position. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
And so I will reluctantly support it, even though I had expectations of a letter on my desk for March the 11th.
I think the key thing to point out here is that this does, as you point out, just starts the process. This thing may take care of itself prior to that.
Well, I think that we just have to improve communication here. I mean, evidently, some people were aware that we did not get that letter when I was told we was going to get that letter. And if you can't tell the chairman of a committee certain information that impacts on how the decision came about, I just believe that communication needs to improve. I mean, we spent a lot of time at committee time addressing this particular motion, getting it worded to where it was accepted to the majority. And now we've spent the same amount of time, if not more, tonight.
I'll let the
Only
chief
because
answer.
we wasn't told in advance.
Sure. Well, I'll let the chief answer.
There was no disrespect meant to the personnel committee. The initial conversation on that Monday we were talking about for the letter, he didn't give me an exact answer whether he would or wouldn't that day. He was on vacation, it was a telephone conversation. Had other conversations with him, and it was like, well, I'm still contemplating what information I've been, or advice I've been given by my attorney, and of what I want to do. He says, I am retiring on the 17th. I don't want to back myself in the corner. I apologize if there's any hard feelings for that. I was trying to work with that officer, even if that letter came later in that week. At least we still have the letter. But what happened was, he decided that it wasn't the right timing for him to issue that letter. So I apologize if that caused anything.
I'm not upset with the chief. The officer said he was gonna have that letter on your desk. It was the officer that
Just
said he
blame
was
the
gonna have
attorney.
that letter.
Sure. Yeah, we'll blame the attorney. Everybody agree to blame the attorney.
Okay, you're blamed.
Well, not this attorney.
All right. All right, we've got a motion and a second
Blame
for
one,
the
blame
amended
ball.
thing. Let's do a roll call and get out of here tonight.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
I'm just glad there was only one motion came out of there that night.
Thanks,
We
Rob.
was trying, you know?
Moving on to Emergency Services Committee.
You've been here all night if you had
There's only
another
two
motion.
motions out of the emergency services. I'm hoping that these go relatively quickly.
I am
They're
too.
fairly simple.
I'll try to help you out.
We only spent 9 minutes on
All
the
right.
whole meeting.
I know.
Move on.
The motion to allow Police Chief Herbstreit to order 26 police badges from whatever that word is, Interim Grogan Company at a cost not to exceed $2,002. I'd like to make that formal motion.
Okay, get a second on that?
I'll second.
Alderman Heberlin, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz. John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Second motion was to allow Police Chief Herbstreit to purchase a video recording system at a cost not to exceed $2,747. I'd like to make that formal motion.
Okay, get a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Voda, discussion or comment? Go ahead
I
with
got a
comment.
I'm glad it's not a video gaming system.
That's right. Although we might need the revenue. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz. John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Moves us to Water Environmental Committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. Does anybody object to having the omnibus vote?
Second.
So you're gonna make that a motion?
Yes. Anybody opposed?
Motion on the omnibus vote.
I'll
Need a
second.
second? Second by Alderman Jones. Roll call, please.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob
Yeah.
Heatherly. Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Sure.
Motion passes.
Make motion to pass these motions.
Okay. Got a motion to pass all the ordinances on the Water Committee by Alderman Dorchenez, second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Let's see. John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Motion passes 8-0. Moves us to Lake Airport Committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll go ahead and make the
You
motions
took
here.
all my time.
There are a few motions come out of there. Motion to forward the proposed fiscal year 2013, 2014 airport budget to Finance Committee. I'll go ahead and make that in form of a motion.
Okay, get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
There was a motion to accept the low bid of $80 per week from Whitlow Septic Service for sanitation services at Lake Taylorville for the 2013-2014 season. Place that in form of a motion.
Okay, get a second on that?
Second.
Second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Motion to accept the lowest responsible bid of $14 per cabin from Carol Howell for cabin cleaning at the lake for 2013 season. Make that in form of a motion.
Okay, can I get a second on that motion?
Second.
Alderman Lawrence. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Had a motion to accept the Taylorville Lake Campers schedule of events for 2013. I'd like to place that in the motion.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second, Charlie.
Alderman Walters. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes.
Motion to forward the fiscal year 2013-2014 lake budget to the Finance Committee. Make that in form of a motion.
Have that motion. Can you get a second?
Second.
Alderman Lawrence, discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
Okay, Your Honor, we had a meeting this evening prior to the city council meeting of the Lake and Airport Committee. One motion came out of that. I did not get the minutes yet. Madam Clerk, what do we want to do here? Wait until the minutes are completed and bring them back, or?
Well, I think we can go ahead and pass the
Make a
motion.
Okay. I'll do the best I can without the motion written in front of me. Motion regarding the farm lease with Brian Moses at Taylorville Municipal Airport. We will be, I'm going to try to get this right. We're going to, I'm sorry,
137,
137.
$137.
We'll reimburse. Have you got it written down by chance, Madam Clerk?
It was
I want to make sure we have it right.
Not 137.
132 one time.
Well,
It was 132.
it's not that, it's the
There's actually two of them.
so much. Motion to recommend to the city council that because the city will need the property, 1 acre of the land for the taxiway extension project at the airport, the 3.88 acres of hay crop which the city is cash renting to Brian Moses for a $120 an acre, be reduced by 1 acre to 2.88, and to reimburse Mr. Moses $132, which was the total cost to prepare this 1 acre last year. Place that in the form of a motion.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Sure.
Second.
Alderman Lawrence, discussion or comment? All those in
Aye.
favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Your Honor.
Go ahead, Alderman Lawrence.
It seems unclear, but his costs we're reimbursing wasn't for last year. It was the fall fertilizer and preparation of that ground for the coming.
For the forward year, yeah, that he will now not be able to use.
Right.
So, right, okay. The only question I'm gonna make sure on was, we're adjusting the rent, okay, and how much is that by itself?
$120 a year.
Okay,
And it's,
Per acre.
4 year, well, it's for 1 acre.
right.
And it's
okay.
only 1 acre that we're taking from him.
Correct.
Right. So
So-
it's $120 for the next 4 years.
For
Each of the next 4 years.
For the smaller number of the 2.88 acres, right?
Right.
So, okay. All right, any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Sean Bertle,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Ron Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. All right, I believe we're finally to a motion to approve and ratify payment of bills in the amount of $121,512.56.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor, with a comment.
Okay, get a second? Second by Alderman Walters. Go ahead with your comment, Alderman Lawrence.
We have a grand total of 121,512, which I think is the lowest batch I've seen in 4 years to date, but nonetheless, I think we got some significant items. Our fuel purchase is for the month of February, coming in at $13,870 total. That is about consistent with the winter time of the year. Diesel in that purchases is being paid at $3.70 a gallon, and it's kind of interesting to look at the NOLAD. We started the month with a small batch of 800 gallon at $3.22, and as we filled at the pump by the end of the month, we were paying another 40 cents, or about $3.68 a gallon on NOLAD. We also have our utility billings amounting to $18,708. This includes direct energy, $88.93 at the contract rate of .05039 that we have in the contract, and the Ameren Shelby Rural Electric delivery cost $9,815. That runs approximately the same 18 to 20,000 for this winter time of the year. I've fussed a couple of times to draw some comparison as to why our delivery costs exceed the actual cost of the direct energy. There seems to be no correlation, but clerk's office straightened me out this afternoon. In the billing of street lighting, direct energy does not have that service, and that is switched over to the Ameren bill, so that that's a $5,500 bill that is not only delivery, but it's also cost of the energy. So, got another bill for the sewer department, Vendor Engineering. It's not engineering, it's for a pump controller, $5,538. We paid last month $24,162.